Welcome back to Projects in Dad's Garage. Once again, this is a stream done on Discord, uploaded to YouTube because of YouTube's firearm policies. This is not a firearm. This is a toy, a very cool adult geared blaster of the foam flinging Nerf type variety. But we'll be building Falx today. It was just released. Files were released on Saturday. We've got the designer with us, Shoeless Historian. Um, you want to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, and say hi?
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, you may know me on Discord as Jay. You may know me as Shoeless Historian. You may have seen my blasters under the flip flop foam factory sort of thing. Um, I design blasters. I design mostly springers. That's for the uninitiated. Nerf blasters that use a spring to compress some air into a barrel to fire a dart very fast. Um, I sort of design some of the higher FPS 3D printable springers in the hobby. You may, if you're familiar with the hobby, you may know me primarily from the monstrosity, the Springer Perilous, which gets about as high as you can get without spending hilarious amounts of money. The Falx is my current favorite thing ever. You might hear my baby screaming in the background. Chill out, buddy. Yep, there you go. Falx is a sheet metal bodied medium jaw springer, and it uses these laser cut and bent sheet metal panels to essentially provide structure for the blaster. And it means you have to print less. It means the blaster is light, and it means you can basically not break it. It's built with several different 3D printed trunnions inside, rail on the top, and then these panels are attached with screws and heat set inserts. I've got a linear bearing here for an easy prime. That's super easy. I've got an adjustable stock here with these two little lock buttons. We've got a quick change spring cap right here. We have a screaming baby in the background who's making this hard for me. And the end result is an extremely rigid, extremely accurate, mid to high-ish FPS blaster. This thing tops out so far at around, buddy, chill, at around 275 FPS. And we found it's accurate enough to compete with stuff that hits a lot harder because it's so light and handy. Yeah. Anything else you want me to cover?
So I've got some questions. Clearly not your first design.
Yep.
Um, I built the Crush, which was uh, a remix of your Rush blaster. It was just basically switched up to use a rail and some heat sets, and the rest of it was pretty much the same. Um, how did you, one, find yourself developing blasters, and what what was your path that led you to designing Falx as is?
So sort of the way that this has worked is I've been nerfing in the hobby since late 2017. I got a 3D printer in 2018. I immediately printed one of Meeker's blasters. If you're not familiar with the hobby, there's a creator named Meeker who has some pretty amazing stuff. Um, he used to be more relevant. A lot of what he was doing used like wood screws, stuff you could find in the hardware store, which was not as common in the older days of Nerf and still isn't common, but now we have hobby hardware stores. I printed what we call what he calls his Mark 18 assault pistol, which is a T-pole pistol with interchangeable barrels. The idea is you had a shotgun pistol,
Mhm.
and that was for rushing points. You only need like one good shotgun blast to catch a person, right?
Yeah.
What I found out was that the wood screws made everything split apart, and when I rushed a point and tagged a person out, there was inevitably a second person, and so that kind of didn't help me out. I designed a double plunger, double barrel, double trigger, essentially take on that concept of the interchangeable barrel shotgun pistol and call it the booster. I kind of iterated, well, it got called the booster later, but I kind of iterated on that concept for years. And then in what, 2020. I ended up working from home. I'm an educator. Um, Fun things happened with education in 2020, so I ended up working from home at a call center with a lot of time for CAD. So I learned a little bit of Fusion and started designing funkier stuff. I designed a, how would I describe it? Okay, so I designed like a bullpup flycore flywheeler, and that was terrible but worked. But people noticed it, got me invited to all of the Nerf development discords, and so from there I kind of got some more ideas. Ended up designing the Ogre, which is my first, I would say, like good hobby build. The Ogre is a hip fire top pump 5-shot Mega XL revolver with interchangeable cylinders, so you can make it shoot other stuff. I have a silly shell version in development hell right now. Ogre was pretty fantastic. That got picked up by SFI. And then from there, I kind of improved the booster and kind of started working on stuff with other people that was intended for a wider audience, not just me. I make all of my stuff primarily for my use. I play 160 and uncapped FPS games, so I shoot like low to medium FPS and extremely high. So you'll kind of see that those are where my blaster builds end up. But I decided to do some stuff that other people would be interested in. I updated the boosters. I have a screaming baby. Come on, buddy. I updated the booster to get released in, I want to say 2021. And then as I started designing more things, I started working with hobby shops, with a little bit with Foamdemic, with Foxfire Industries, 3D Blasted Hawaii, and of course Bears Wares. Buddy, chill out, chill out, chill out. And that kind of gave me the resources and beta testing framework to start pumping stuff out. So Falx is sort of the pinnacle of that relationship with my vendors, with Bearswear specifically. That came about basically because I designed the Springer Perilous, which is, it's about as high FPS as you can personally build, unless you want to put 10 years into it. Yeah, I know. Unless you want to put 10 years into customizing a Caliburn. The Springer Perilous often gets compared to products from Sabre. If you're not familiar with Sabre, they're a Singaporean blaster company that's known for blatant IP theft and hilariously bad quality control, and also really expensive full metal CNC blasters. So I actually had the opportunity to use the Springer Perilous against their budget, and budget being $500, their budget offering, the Apex Prime, which is a sheet metal and CNC, like CNC milled internal blaster, and the Apex Prime sucks horribly. It's one of the worst things that I've ever used. It makes me very sad. So
What
I
is it
got to
about it that's an
with,
issue?
what was that?
What is it about it that's an issue? Just
I could go on for hours. So the Apex Prime is 2 sheet metal panels, um, which use 2 really long. Sorry, he's really happy. Yeah, there you go. They
there's
use
much worse
2
things than a happy
linear
baby.
rails as the chassis for the blaster. So the pump rides on 2 linear rails and is kind of in between them. The barrel is actually dropped to the bottom of the plunger tube, similar to like a crush. You did that. You saw how the barrel's at the bottom of the plunger tube.
Yeah.
What this means is the bottom linear rail had to get dropped even lower. The pump got, like, if you want to use it in pump mode, the pump Picatinny rail got dropped even lower to accommodate for that. So it's a hideously off-axis prime on a super heavy, I think it's like 10 pounds, 12 pounds, a super heavy CNC metal blaster that's intended for heavy spring loads. So ergonomically
It wants
shit.
to twist itself, doesn't it?
Yeah. And then like it's best used in side prime where you have like a side bolt handle, but the reach on that is just slightly too short to be comfortable. It has an AR buffer tube in the rear, but the buffer tube is actually put too far back to effectively use AR stocks. The length of pull is something like 16 inches minimum if you're using aftermarket AR stocks. The stock it comes with is actually a weird CNC clone of a tail hook pistol brace. So it's super uncomfortable. There's no way to actually set the barrel depth right off the bat. You actually have to do trial and error putting the barrel in and securing with, I want to say, 6 grub screws. So that's kind of stupid. They tout a quick barrel change system with an enormous CNC metal barrel nut that you have to then, like, you have to secure the barrel to. So the only way it's quick swap is if you have more of those barrel nuts, and I think they sold them for like $50. It was nonsense. Because it's huge threads, the barrel is never actually on center. I could go on for hours. It's a thing that works, but it's a bad design. It's just a bad design. There's no better way to say that. It doesn't work. The
Yeah.
construction, that is like 2 panels on the outside of like stronger trunnions, that's actually based off of an old Nerf Haven build that Dorian Coltman basically showed them, and that's what they kind of based their construction on. And so I was thinking about how the Apex does not use its sheet metal for structure, even though it could, it doesn't. It just uses it to kind of make a shell on the outside of the blaster. I thought about, what if we use that sheet metal for construction? I talked with my buddy who got that Apex about it. There was like a lot of talk, and finally, after about a year, I designed Falx. And so Falx is intended to use that sheet metal for, strength for the blaster. So it doesn't need threaded rods. It doesn't need flat bar to hold everything in place. It doesn't need extra structure. So there's not a bunch of heavy steel hardware in there. There's nothing in here that's not screws, that's not aluminum. Buddy. It uses 3D printing to its advantage because the Saber, like for example, the Saber Apex is a rectangular brick because that's cheapest to manufacture. Since I'm using printing for the inside here, I can do complex shapes and it doesn't
Yeah.
cost me extra. That also means I can use these complex shapes to make a strong profile blaster and not really worry about it. Instead of just sticking with round shapes or rectangles, I did this. I mean, you'll see it. Yeah, I did the funky, like 70-degree bends on the outside of this thing. And that's for strength. That's just so it fits nicely. That's for a lot of different things. But yeah, bottom line, I wanted to do what Saber said they did and do it better and cheaper and actually use materials to do what they should instead of just kind of metal for the sake of being metal. This isn't metal for the sake of metal. This is metal because it actually makes the blaster better.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Let's get into this a little bit. I'm going to flip screens around, and uh, it'll take your camera off the screen, um, and but everybody else, um, feel free to join in chat, conversate, ask questions. Um, Good chance I won't know the answers because I'm pretty new to this. Um, but our friend here will definitely have some answers for you. Um, for those of you that are new here, new to the Discord, new to the channel, welcome. Um, we do a lot of 3D printing stuff. We started doing a bunch of Nerf Blaster stuff, so glad to have you here. Few other housekeeping things before we get started. Shout out to Bears Wares for getting this kit over to me. I think the kits go on pre-sale on Friday, if I'm not mistaken, if they're not already up. Like I said, files got released on Saturday AM. I'm just going to grab last couple parts off of the printer. Um, because Printer was running all the way up till the start of this. Printing some last minute items. That is definitely too thin. Let me get different camera view up. Where this was just one wall that kind of snapped off. Do you think there's room with the K25 spring to add like another wall or two with this? No, not really. Anyway, that was printed in polycarbonate. It was just a test anyway. So let's get into it a little bit. Show you a bit of what you're gonna get in the kit. You're gonna get 2 of these mirror images of one another. Is this what kind of steel is this? Doesn't seem like it's aluminum.
So that is actually 50-52 aluminum.
Oh, is
It's
it?
clear
Okay.
anodized.
Okay. Just the way it tinged against each other, it kind of sounded like steel or so. And then you've got 2 more pieces. This, from what I could tell from the pictures, seems like this is probably going to be part of your stock setup and cheek rest.
Yep, those are the stock bars.
All right. And then you get this lovely 3D printed case. It's got all your hardware in it. A spring, linear rod, 2 linear bearings. These are 8 millimeters, I do believe. Your plunger tube, 8-inch K25 spring, and then 1 bar that this is for your pump.
Morning, guys.
How's it going?
My
Got
little guy's had me
Undermaker,
up
huh?
since 3,
Oh man.
so I hung out
Oh,
on Modbot stream for a little while, and then saw you guys were online.
oh, glad you can make it, man.
It's
I
5
am
a.m.
going
here.
to. Oh no.
And for those who don't know, Mrs. Maker shattered her ankle on the weekend, so I'm doing everything.
Yeah, how's she doing, by the way?
She's got surgery on Monday, and probably at least 2 titanium pins, and maybe a plate.
Oof. So I'm going to copy and paste. This is the link for the build instructions should you want to follow along. Mike, Shrimp Father, how's it going?
Give me a second. I'm going to turn my cameras on.
All right.
Actually, I can't turn my cameras on. I've got all this NDA gear on my desk. Probably not a good idea, Phil.
It's just us here. All right. So looks like we're starting with this. Trying to grab all the pieces that I need to put heat sets into.
Although I
That,
realized a couple of weeks ago I had something that's under NDA in shot on my stream for the whole stream.
nobody noticed them.
No, thank goodness.
Did you go back and edit it out?
No.
Blur it?
Then you'll just point out what it was if you go back and blur it.
Exactly. It was small enough that you couldn't see details, so it's all good.
Like a
I
little
have no
Easter
idea what was on there.
I do beta testing for a bunch of companies, and I had 3D printer gear that's under NDA sitting behind me in the shot on my stream for 2 hours.
All right, there's a lot of these. We're gonna go ahead and heat up our heat set iron. Maybe.
It's a trap. Don't do it. Cold heat sets are the best.
Oh. Well, we might get cold heat sets here in a second. There we go. All right.
Okay, all that stuff's away. Let's go to here.
All right. I really like the fact that starting to integrate Voron standard hardware into Nerf blasters. The crossover between the two communities is fantastic. Still trying to get them to use GitHub for their instructions and files, though.
Some people do. The reason we ended up on the Voron spec heat sets is because it's actually really difficult to find standardized cheap heat sets that aren't that size. Out of Dart's actually got some larger M3 heat sets, and those kind of caused a headache for the hobby because people bought Voron heat sets on Amazon without knowing that it was different.
Yeah, I've got a couple of non-standard ones from a couple of years ago that were like longer. And then Billy Butch used some gigantic ones. Now, I'm going to try to call out any variations between the stock files versus what I am using. This here is a different grip. This is using the Lynx style grip. Um, the grip that come in the files is a bit bigger. So if you have big hands or I don't know, normal size hands, it's probably going to be just fine for you. But if you're like me and you have freakishly tiny hands, there are some options available out there. As you can see, like this is for anybody in the firearms world, this is probably a little bit smaller than a standard AR grip, maybe like the size of like an M&P with the small back on it, and my hand barely gets all the way around it. Really tiny, short fingers.
Tiny hands, tiny hands.
You know what? The number of times that it has come in handy working on cars and equipment to have hands that are small enough to fit into a tight spot. 12 years of doing goldsmithing, having smaller hands came in handy. My fingers are getting fatter, but they're just not getting any longer as I get older.
Okay, so that camera's actually working this week.
Which camera is that?
I couldn't get one of the ob spots to connect last week during my stream. It just wouldn't work.
Ooh. I was like, I didn't know one of my cameras stopped working before. So this one looks like it's 2. And I can't tell from the picture. There's 2 heat sets go on the top here.
Sorry, let me see. 2 heat certs where?
On the top of
Yep.
this as well.
That's correct. Yeah, each of the trunnions has 2 heat certs on the top. So you see how the panels kind of like interlock. That's so every trunnion has 1 screw on the top from each panel.
Have you gotten yourself a heat set press yet for all your builds?
No,
Designing?
I have the world's shittiest $10 Amazon soldering iron. I intend to fix that when I move to California.
Okay, so if you get yourself a workbench, highly recommend the Frax arm. Mounts to the bench and just can go wherever, do whatnot.
I gotta go, guys. My little guy's woken up again. Catch ya.
All right, and then just kind of stays wherever you put it normally. Unless you're out at like the extremes or whatnot, but it just kind of stays there. And you can put that cheap $10 heat set soldering iron on there, and then or alternatively, like I was talking with Bear the other day, since he's got all those linear rails sitting around, maybe you can get him to send you one, and you can build one of these, and it just goes on there and kind of goes down. The only issue with the 0 one is how much clearance you have between here and there. But that one's a little bit more portable if you don't have like a permanent spot to clamp it down to or screw it down to.
I need to upgrade my tools. I tend to spend most of my hobby budget on hardware stuff.
Yeah, it kind of goes in cycles for me. Like I'll at some point start getting a whole bunch of tools without knowing what in the world I'm going to use them for eventually. Then I'll get a bunch of printers or a bunch of hardware. Just kind of cycles around.
My problem is I tend to have a hilarious amount of projects in progress, and I'm not quite silly butts. I kind of, when I design stuff, I design it because I want to make it quickly. I know, Henry. I have 8 blasters currently in beta and several more that are in working order but not ready for beta. And that gets annoyingly expensive. Thankfully, Bear is now willing to take a chance and send me hardware to try stuff.
Yeah, he's a really good dude. I do like that your instructions kind of just seem like they go through and call out all the heat sets so you can get them all done and then move on and not have to be like, oh crap, I gotta stop and heat up my iron again.
Yeah, plus we also have to make absolutely sure that the heat sets all go on the correct points. We had, I think, 3 separate beta testers put a heat set in the mag release spring point.
Ooh. Make sure I don't do that, please. after this one, I am going to stop for a second and glue that plunger setup together. All right. So this is another variation. That is available. Your normal plunger thing looks like this. This is one where the head has been printed out of TPU, and then it's got a two-part assembly with a body that gets printed and put in. I think I'm going to go with your thing. I think the shock might cause issues. This is just a bit of super glue all the way down the bottom and then push that in, right?
Yep, should be pretty easy.
Give it a twist. We'll set that off to the side and let that set up until we get to it.
It's a good call to do that first too, because you don't want that white super glue grossness inside your plunger tube.
Yeah. What I might do once I get to it, actually, there's a little bit extra at the bottom I can see. I don't know if white paper towel is going to be the best for this or not, but we're going to do it quickly. I can always spray some activator down in there. And yeah. We managed to do it without getting paper towel stuck in the plunger. We did not manage to do it without getting paper towel stuck to me, though. Though, given the choice, I'd rather have it stuck to me. All right, back to our heat sets. Well, what's going on with this thing? It sat for too long, cooled off. Wants to like keep shutting off on me. It's like this wire has a short in it or something. Now, what's that one that I saw yesterday? I was telling Bear I need him to send me the hardware kit for. It's in beta still. It's like a
True, I think.
bullpup version of the Crush.
Yeah,
Shrew.
true. Yeah, it's called
That thing
True
looks
because
sweet.
it's a rush, but the the sh is in front of the ruh.
I love it. It's so cute.
Here we go. That's my my prototype shrew. It's same draw as Rush, but inbuilt Scar or P-Car, quick change, good up to 250
Hold on a second. I'm gonna get you back up on screen here so you can
for sure.
show that up. What's going on over here? Okay. Close out the chat. There we go. We got it.
Yep. That's Shrew. Shrew is it's a short draw bullpup. Yeah, it does. Currently, I've tested from about 130 to 250. Super nice prime because the bar is like constrained all the way through here. I got quick swap spring, the whole dealio. The nicest bullpup trigger I've ever felt in the hobby, which is kind of fun. Yeah, it's basically if you want a bullpup but you're not feeling the links, that's what you want.
I've heard of the links. I'm just not. When I saw it was before like I really took any interest in it. So I don't really have the knowledge on that for a comparison. I just know that I really like that one.
The Lynx is absolutely fantastic. It's just not for me. The way that it's kind of set up is instead of the magazine, like, oh, actually, yeah. So instead of the magazine being like right here behind the grip, the magazine's like back here, which makes reloads a little less pleasant for me. And then, you know, on this one, my prime does still come back all the way to my hand, but my right hand's a little further out. The length of pull is more correct for me. For the Lynx, it feels like I'm kind of like back here scrunched up, and it's just not my thing. It's a really fantastically engineered blaster, though. Highly recommend as a thing.
So if you were going to be like, you know what you should build next, would it be the Shrew or the Perilous?
It depends what you want. The Shrew is going to be cheaper. There are bears doing beta hardware kits for it. Perilous is huge, heavy. This is intended to be like I would describe it as essentially a beater blaster for like regular high FPS play. The issue that I ran into, which is why this exists, is because if you ask someone, I want a blaster that'll do 350 to 400 higher FPS, what should I get? The answers are a heavily modified Caliburn, which is horrible to use, a Saber Apex, or an Ultima, both of which are hilariously expensive, extremely heavy, poorly QC'd. Don't do it. I have a very happy baby in the corner. Or like a heavily modded Worker Swift, which are good, but they kill themselves pretty quickly. They break the shells. They'll say, get a Dart Zone Mark IV, which those are good. Those are great, but they're often curved. They're injection molded, like consumer plastic. They won't stand up to the same stuff that you really want if you're playing like me. Or the other option is get something from Tinkershot, a Javelin XLPT. Those are incredibly gorgeous. I have a rule on I don't buy anything printed that I didn't print. And also his waiting period on those is like 6 months right now, maybe longer. I don't know. Buy from Tinkershot if you want a really, really nice blaster. I was in the market for something that hit like a truck, that was easy to use, that fit me, and that I built. So this thing is intended basically to be run constantly at high FPS. Like let's see, how can I, pinch my fingers because I'm an idiot. This is absolutely see if I can get my finger in there because I have dead fingers. That's a pinky prime. Like it's not a difficult prime, and that's 370 FPS. You can run that super fast. I've actually run this thing fast enough in game that people have asked me if I was shooting full auto. I've made between 3 and 5 hits on one person in less than a second at over 100 feet. This is for that kind of game. Shrew is not for that kind of game. Shrew is obviously much smaller, like hilariously smaller. Shrew will top out at 250, but it's happier under 200. You want this for your low FPS, more casual games. You want this for something where you do care about like tucking into cover. With this thing, I am shooting at people far enough away that I don't really care about tucking. Honestly, most of the time I'm shooting at people with this thing from way further than they could possibly hit me. Which is kind of what it's for.
See, that's kind of my gameplay because I'm not in with the physical issues that I've got going on. Running and gunning is less of an option. Me getting far enough away that they can't hit me, but I can hit them seems ideal.
Yeah, this thing is like, okay, so we've had a couple venues for Uncapped here. We do play in desert like scrubland, sagebrush sort of stuff. So what we end up with is really long sight lines. Like you can see people from really far away. But there's a lot of cover. We have sagebrush that you can absolutely see through, but the dart won't go through reliably. So
yeah,
there's a couple ways to deal with this. One of them is getting closer, using movement stealth, that sort of stuff. I'm fat, slow, and clumsy, so that's not my option. The other option, which I've taken, is essentially hit people from extremely far away very reliably, and that's what this is for. If you have a game that will allow you to use something like this, go for it. I mean, there is the caveat that it is big and heavy. It's not like CNC metal, but it is, I think it's like 5.5 pounds, 6 pounds. I don't know. It's pretty big.
that ain't nothing.
Like it's over 4 feet long. This is a massive blaster. I
Yeah,
actually find that
that's-
really helps leading a moving target. Like you get a really good swing on it.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, if you can use this and you don't mind carrying it, go for it. If you are looking at shorter ranges, if you're shooting it under 100 feet, a shrew is just going to be better. It's you're not going to be. You don't need to be dumping darts as fast as you can at 200 feet. That's not what shrew's for. But under 100 feet, you're going to be able to get solid hits with shrew. You won't have to worry about it at all.
Now, here's my question for you.
Yeah.
I'm cross-eye dominant, so I shoot long guns left-handed.
Yeah.
What's the chances of mirroring perilous so the mag wells on the other side?
Yeah, that's been done a few times. I have it on the right side for a couple reasons. Where's that mag? Here we go. Basically, because with a 15-round mag, this is like safely off to my right, and so I can swing around, and that's not in my way. If I'm left-handed, it's right here. I jab myself in the arm pretty frequently, so it's not ideal.
Yeah, that's why I need it switched around.
Yeah, so you can absolutely mirror. I believe it's 1, 2, 3 parts, maybe 4 parts, and then I have a mirrored nameplate for it. It's commonly done. I know a couple of my beta testers mirrored it because they just thought that, buddy, stop screaming. They thought that just left-handed reloads would be better, and they kind of found out that that only works with short mags.
Yeah.
Very excited, baby.
All right, now, does this get a heat set there? I've got one heat set left, and this looks like the only place that we would go.
So that part in the back there, that is the mag well. That's the mag release spring point. You don't want that. You should have 4 heat sets on either side there. I think Bear does his heat sets by weight. So you might have
Okay.
like 1 or 2 extras. Mhm.
Well, if there's one that gets a heat set that I didn't get to, we'll find out. Yeah, I was getting ready to put it in there. I'm like, no, wait, don't put a heat set in the wrong spot.
Good call. Good call.
All right, let me hop back over here. We've got all of our heat sets in. That there. Okay, now we've got 2 ball detents that are going in here and here. Yep. Are you gluing these in?
It depends on your print. They're press fit for some people. I use a dab of super glue just to make sure.
Let me grab some tweezers. Mm. Yeah, dab of super glue. Definitely gonna improve the situation some. Ooh, my other TPU RAM is done. All right. Now we've got a trigger. The M3x20.
I think that's the mag
Ooh.
release.
They're all starting to make sense now. That's a 30. That's a 15. I think Bear put a screw in here. Well, he's got 3 different slots, but he's got 3 of the same length screw.
Yep,
No.
those 3 are for the trigger, the sear, and the mag release. The other 2 are for your foregrip. The 2 long ones. You won't need those
Yeah.
for now.
Yeah, I'm just saying there's no 20 in here. So we'll have to
They might
let
be
him know that.
It might be 16s then. They're definitely the right size. That might be my
Okay,
error on the build guide, putting the numbers. But those
okay,
those
let's
4 other ones should be the right size.
okay. Yeah, because the 20 would blow out the other side. How many of these have you built?
I personally have built 3. I have 2 prototypes. One of them is still in its original first state. One of them got updated with the files, and then I built the production one. I also helped with a locals build, and we put 10 beta kits out, and I believe 8 of them were built.
People got beta kits and didn't build them?
Yeah, we have a local here who's he's actually the one who's doing code for my brushless build, but he basically got a promotion and a cat the same week, so no building for him. And another person just had some life happen.
Yeah. Things do occur. Okay. Now we've got a spring.
I'd like to apologize on behalf of my son. He's decided to make pterodactyl sounds when he's excited.
That's adorable.
He got to meet a bunch of new friends at the baby shower today, so he is still keyed up.
Nice. Okay, one around about this far. Maybe a bit more. Slot the end of the spring into a little slot in the grip and push the sear down. Hold it in. Okay, so every build has its finicky spot. Seems like I found it.
This is the one everyone complains about, but I swear it's not that hard.
Yeah, once you do it once and you kind of get the technique for how it's done, I'm sure it's not that bad. Also, doesn't help that I can't feel my fingers. Okay, hold on a second here. So this bend, should this be laying flat against this or pointing out away from it?
It should
Like,
be sticking out away from the sear. Is it bent straight down parallel with it?
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Bear and I were talking about that today. I was building him a jig and there was some confusion. Yeah,
Yeah,
if you just bend that out 90 degrees, you should be good.
yeah. This is what he said he wasn't sure about, so he had sent me 2 of them just in case, because he wasn't sure which way it went. All right. Yeah, you might just want to update the screw measurements in your instructions because this says uh, M3 by 20 here as well. I think I'm the first one to build it using your instructions, though. Because you just did these, right?
I think one other person got to use the instructions somewhat.
So that seems like it's functioning about right. Now we're looking for the spring guide and the cap. So we got spring guide, cap, and M3 by 8. That looks like an M3 by 6. That looks like an M3 by 8. So which of your blasters do you think has been the hardest for you development wise?
You're gonna have to divine like hard. Falx has been tough just because like you can't fix the metal once you have it. So it took a lot more like troubleshooting and like I don't know, I guess thinking in CAD before we could order pieces. And then we've had to wait for a while for the metal. We had to do the thing of finding a manufacturer for the metal. That's been tough. As far as like most difficult for me to design, I don't know. I don't do very well with flywheelers. My head doesn't work that way. So my current build, Hussar, which is a competitive flywheeler, which I'm hoping to get the code on tonight. That's been tough. I don't know. As far as like overall, I have one called Terminus that's coming out soon. I actually have to do the build guide for that this week. Terminus is a
Seen that.
double barrel pump action, double barrel, double magazine pump action. And it's like that one was difficult because it was based off an idea from building the booster double barrel pistol. I put RSCB loading devices on there, so I had like 5 shots repeating on each side. And what I found was having an extra shot on deck immediately, like faster than you can pump a blaster, faster than you can change aim on a flywheeler. Having that extra shot got me a lot more tags than I ever thought I would. Even with like I was shooting 50 FPS lower than most people at that game. So I've been thinking about a double barrel, double trigger pump action Springer for a long time. And the difficulty with that is I needed it to have some sort of disconnector. So if you load both barrels and roll up on someone and you hit them with the first barrel, you need a way to load only that first barrel and not double load the second barrel. There have been a couple of double barrel Springer primaries that have existed. There's like the Caliburn Gemini and the Talon-Claw Gemini. Both of those have no disconnector, so it has that issue. Basically, you have to fire both barrels before you reload, or you're going to double load one barrel. And then there's the Tour, which is a double skewer. And that one's fine because it's a pullback blaster, but it's bulky and I wanted pump action. So Terminus kind of lived in my brain as this mythical killer Springer for a long time. The idea that it would be just better than anything in its FPS bracket simply by dint of having another shot immediately on deck. And so I eventually solved that with a selector inside the pump grip that's like a series of like lugs that slot in and out of two separate pump shuttles. It's kind of, if you think of a crush, it's basically two of those strapped together. And instead of Picatinny rail on the pumps, it has lugs that lock into that selector. And so that way you can select which side you're using. So it's set up, you have both barrels, left barrel or right barrel to reload. And that's pretty awesome. I got it put together finally. Turns out it hits way above its weight for some reason, like to the point where people have had trouble tuning their beta ones down. But I've got you get hilarious tags with it because if someone pops their head over cover and you take a shot and you miss, typically they drop their head behind cover by the time you reload it. With Terminus, you just take another shot and you hit them. The barrels are 39 millimeters apart, so there's not much of a change in point of impact, and that's well within what is called well within
I should be able to move my van.
Yeah. So you can't
Okay.
really quantify how good that is until you've used it. But
Gotcha.
the first game I built Terminus and brought it in, I did score 2 tags with 1 pump. I scored I got a miss on a running. I had a dart jam in 1 barrel and used the second barrel to get someone. It's really nice to have. So that one took me a long time and is still currently in beta. We're hoping to release next month.
Nice. Now, real quick, we've gotten to the part where we're installing some linear bearings.
Yep.
Anybody that has kind of done 3D printers with them knows that there's 4 rows of bearings in them. And you want to get those kind of at the 130, 430, 730, 930. So you don't want your bearings like 12, 6, 3, and 9. Otherwise, they'll tend to roll from one side to the other.
Yes.
So
Yeah, I needed a win. Yeah.
Howie, are you talking to us or are you talking to somebody else? You're clipping in and out, so I'm not sure what you're saying.
Oh, sorry guys, I didn't realize my mic was on. I'm talking at home and listening. Sorry.
No worries. I just didn't want to be rude if you were talking to us and you think that we weren't answering you. All right, now add pump front plate on pump secure with 2 M3x8s. I kind of wish I had printed this part in black, but I did not. Also, there's no holes to attach this. Oh, yes, there is. They're filled with supports. One moment, please. Well, just broke the tip off of that blade. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. There we go. This is one hard thing about printing stuff off of unreleased files without a whole bunch of great pictures. Um, Sometimes you're not entirely sure where parts go, and sometimes you make the wrong assumption on color choices. All right, so this is going to retain those bearings inside of this part. That's holding your linear bearings in there. Now, we need two of our O-rings. And these are going to go down inside of here. All right. They're seated nicely in there. All right. Now, we have this. That's going to go in here. Sounds like my daughter is throwing a fit in there. Now, which screen?
Should be the long one.
Okay. Yeah, there's 3 in here. 2 of them look like they're wider, shorter ones. Oh, now we're to some these bars. And notches are going up. So it's going in there. I tell you what, just getting this printed part to fit onto a bent metal piece with nice tight tolerances, but actually fit on there smoothly. Excellent work. That is not an easy task.
Fusion's sheet metal tools are quite nice.
You say that, but you know how many times I've messed with stuff where it isn't even close. Not just in like the hobby world, but so my day job is in plastics manufacturing, running blow mold, injection molding, plastics welding machines. Um, and the blow molding machine is the size of 3-story house and typical, I don't know, quarter of a city block, 3 stories tall, size of quarter of a city block. And so not like little dinky things. And they can't get decent tolerances on parts uh like on that machinery to save their lives.
Well, that was what I was most worried about with these production sets, is since all our prototypes were from Send Cut Send, we were really worried that they would come in and the bends would be like slightly different radius or something. And thankfully,
Yeah.
they're perfect.
Now we got a butt plate. I printed it twice because I printed it once in TPU. And these are by 6s. One thing, so I don't know if you've printed one of these in TPU or not, but you might want to give like the option in your printed part down here and whatnot for 2 more screws over here. If it kind of wants to flop away with TPU, it absolutely wouldn't be an issue with a, you know, rigid printed part, but I don't know how much of an issue it would actually be in play or not, but all right. Now, we've got our pump. We do have a small discrepancy here. See, that back hole doesn't line up.
Can you do me a favor and can you measure that bar?
Yeah. Uh, 315 millimeters.
I think that might be too long. 1 sec.
Okay. Well, he goes to double check that. Got a ram that I printed out of polycarbonate. Gonna put some O-rings on here. If you get a kit, yours is going to come with a printed TPU ram.
Hey, sorry, I got a screaming baby. What was the measurement on that bar? Do you...
So 31.5 centimeters.
Okay, I think Bear sent you an H4 bar instead of a T4. That bar is the wrong size.
Okay. Is it too long? Because if it's too long, I can deal with that. Too short, I don't know that I have anything.
Yeah, it's too long. A T4 bar is 10.3 inches long. So I think 26 and change centimeters. Yeah, it's too long and then has bars drilled slightly different, or it has the 2 widely spaced holes drilled slightly different.
About the 2 closely drilled ones down at
1
this end.
second. I think the 2 closely ones might be done differently too.
Okay.
1 second.
This lines up okay on the second hole.
Yeah, it should line up on the second hole there. So that's probably fine.
Okay. And now, what's the measurement that it needs to be?
Let me drop I have a technical drawing here from Silly Butts. Let me just pull that up. I got a screaming baby I might have to put to sleep. Let's
Okay.
see. But it's 10.3 inches long.
10
And
point.
they're quick printable jigs for drilling a T4 bar.
Or drilling, it's not an issue. Once I get it cut down to the right thing, I'll just use a punch.
Well, I mean, getting the
and
bar
drill it
spacing
out.
right.
10.3 inches. We mixed decimals and SAE. That's fun.
Well, that's a Captain Slug problem. That's not a me problem.
Uh, okay, Google. What's 10.3 inches in centimeters?
Inches to centimeters, you multiply by 2.54. So 0.3 inches is about 0.76 centimeters.
Okay, what is 10.3 inches in centimeters?
10.3 inches to centimeters, we multiply by 2.54. That gives us about 26.16 centimeters.
Okay, so 26.2. Get out some tools, yeah. Oh, Chat GPT, I'm talking to you. Thank you. You're really useful. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. So, what's everybody else up to today? Halfway through the week, are you all ready for the weekend?
It is my weekend.
Oh, that's right. All right, gonna move the iPad over a little bit. Let me go get some safety glasses. Safety spectacles. Oh, Patrick, give it a rock. All right. Now, there, we got a little bit further to go. I think this last hole's gonna line up right. My dog is not a fan of power tools, apparently. All trying not to go too far, but I guess really it doesn't matter. All right, now let's go center punch. Let's get some drill bits. It's moments like this that I wish I had bought that drill press.
Oh, I have one. I don't even use it.
I was at Max Trader Days up in Lima, Ohio, a couple years ago, and guy had drill press, but it was pretty close to the beginning of the thing, but not close enough to the car where I could like run it back to the car real quick. So I
Uh-huh.
was like, all right, just hold on to it, I'll be back. And he's like, all right, no problem. Like, I'll hold it till whatever time it was. And then at the very end, I found that grinder that I was actually using just now. Took it to the car and we're like, all right, let's go ahead and head out for the day. And we got back to the hotel we were staying at. I'm like, yeah, I never went back to get that drill press. It wasn't anything fancy. It was just like a Harbor Freight drill press, but it was only like $5. All right. Now the holes are in the right spot, just as God intended. All right. Get our nuts pushed in here. Little screws. All right, there's one. Just sliding the nut down in there, holds it in place. Take our screw, put that in. I didn't see who just posted that they had to go, but have a good one, sir.
I think it beeps whenever you mute and unmute too.
No, that's when people are coming and going, I think.
Well, I muted it a second ago and it beeped
Oh, it might.
because I was banging on something.
You're gonna need to put that through the front, middle, and rear middle trunnions before you screw the ram on.
Okay. I was just trying to find the orientation of it, and I think I've
Yep,
got it
that's
right.
correct.
Lines up with where the barrel would be.
Yep.
All right. Okay. So I need close. I need this guy, and he's going to point away, and then
That one can just hang loosely on there for now.
but it's this, right?
Other way.
Oh.
Yep, there you go.
Oh, there's there. So your instructions call out to use Loctite on these nuts. Just a heads up. I don't know about PLA, but I know ABS and ASA. If you get Loctite on that plastic, it'll just disintegrate over time.
Yep, happens to Pet G2. So just be careful to get it only on the screw.
See, if I had been a smarter man, I would have looked through the instructions at some point over the last couple days. And then this morning, as soon as I got this kit, I would have pulled those screws out and put some Loctite on them and let the Loctite dry.
You're probably okay, but I'd like to recommend Loctite because if those walk out, suddenly you have a screw banging around in your plunger tube, and that's not fun.
All right, now this thing we're adding.
So what's a good pistol to build after I get done with this slab? I think I'm gonna build a couple of pistols next.
So I really like the 31Ks that I just built.
I'm down
I'm
to
a-
do a 31K. I might have to build one more that's a little smaller for the 11-year-old though.
So even the compact one is going to hit like a truck. Um, uh,
Yeah, I had to lighten up the spring for him in the Talon because he couldn't get it cocked.
oh, then yeah, he's definitely not going to cock the 31Ks. They are hard to prime. The old lady tried to do it the other day, yesterday,
Yeah.
and that was a no go. What about a flywheeler? What about Chance has the Blitz, the Free Runner, and the Riot?
Yeah, Flywheeler was kind of on my radar. I got a couple of 70 round drum mags, the Captain A drum mags I'm gonna start on and probably have them built before the end of the weekend.
Yeah, I've got one of the 70 round super drums. I need to get another one. I want to do it as the 34 round one.
Yeah.
Um, but then you don't have the that barrier of entry for having to have enough strength to actually cock a big spring.
They still just take a worker mag for that.
Uh, I think
Yep.
they take the angled worker mags, don't they?
For which
Uh,
one?
Or
uh,
no, they take the straight ones. I think they take the straight ones.
What was
Because they
that one?
load up in the front.
That flywheel you were just talking about? What's it called?
So Blitz and Free Runner have the mini flywheel things, and then Riot has bigger ones. So
Okay.
I think if you're looking for a lower FPS thing for with the kids, probably the Riot or the Free Runner. The difference being is the Riot has a solenoid to push the darts, so I think that can be full auto if I'm not mistaken. And the Free Runner does not. It uses a manual pusher thing.
Gotcha. Yeah, right now, like on the Talon, the back piece is in with pins instead of screws. So when the little's not involved, I pull the 2 pins and swap springs. Luckily, the kit I bought came with 2 springs. It was just happenstance. I don't think they usually do. It came with a heavy and a light. I don't remember the pressure on them, but the heavy one's pretty heavy.
Sorry, I was reading instructions. What what was that? My ability to focus on 2 things at once is lacking.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. No, I was just saying on the Talon, it's got pins instead of screws, so I can just pull 2 pins and swap the springs when the little isn't involved. Because it came with a real light spring and a real heavy spring. The kit did.
Oh, nice.
It was surely the kindness out of their heart because I selected a spring when I ordered it, not knowing nothing about nothing. I picked one kind of in the middle, so that what I'm calling the heavy spring might be the middle strength. I don't know.
Yeah, I think some companies have some of their listings have an FPS range for different spring sizes. Other ones don't. I would really like to see, even if there's not like a FPS thing for on each listing, just a drop down menu where it'll you can drop it down and it'll give you a listing of the springs and the associated, like, this spring stronger than this spring is stronger than this spring kind of
Yeah,
thing, you know?
yeah. Even if they just give you the diameter of the wire on it, the thicker the wire, the stronger the spring.
Yeah, and then you have different diameters and different amount of windings per inch and stuff like that. So even that's kind of hard to. I mean, it's a good start, but
And you're awfully needy.
I know. But this is kind of the viewpoint of somebody's just starting and just getting into it, and that doesn't know and doesn't have that tribal knowledge of what's what. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I got lucky that they sent me that lightweight spring because if it only came with the one spring I selected, then we'd be waiting on a spring before you could play with it. But he absolutely fell in love with it immediately.
Oh yeah, how could you not?
Even with the lighter spring in it, it's still hands above whatever Nerf gun you're buying at the store.
Yeah. All right. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this is the one that's safe on plastic. Nope, this is just removable red Loctite made for vibration settings. So that's not what we want. I thought I had picked up some Loctite that was safe on plastic, and I may have. It may just be somewhere else. These I didn't really want to Loctite anyway because I got to undo them to change out a bar later. I don't want them Loctite in them. There's one. I'm not going to put these in yet. I'm just going to put some thread locker on them. Let them sit off to the side and set up a bit, and then circle back around to it. Martin, what blaster are you building next?
Don't know yet.
You guys that go out and actually play, because I have not been out to play Nerf. What is you guys' favorite game type? I need ideas for Saturday.
My favorite's called Kill Confirmed, and basically you do groups, typically 2 or 3, maybe 4, depending on how many people you got. When you get tagged, you go down on one knee, and you just got to stay there and wait. Your team can come and revive you by the hand, shoulder, or whatever for 5 seconds, counting out loud. If the other teams come up and hand tag you out, then you're out for good. So it allows for high stakes, single elimination feel, but you're not done as soon as you get shot.
Like it. I was thinking of doing a game mode. Halo had it where your team starts off with so many respawns, right? And if you get shot and there's a respawn left, you go back to the spawn point, you respawn back into the game, and then once you run out of respawns, then it's just death match at that point. Whoever has a player standing at the end. Attrition, I think, is what it was called in Halo.
Yeah, I'm in the Midwest. If we respawn, we're at the nearest Casey's or Dollar General.
I recommend, like, that one's good. Do it. The typical hobby version is called 315. Everyone gets 3 lives. It's a 15-second respawn. So when you get tagged, you go back, count 15, come back in, and you get 3 lives. The other one is, instead of actually counting spawns, get a tally counter and just give one to each side. Do unlimited instant respawns. When you get hit, just run back, click the counter, come back in. Whichever team has the highest number at the end loses.
Okay. I don't have any sort of clicker thing. Sure, I could set something up on an iPad, though. It's got to be an app. God knows I've got enough iPads. Maybe too many iPads, some might say. Or too few. Who knows? Apple would say it's not enough, I'm sure. Now for the metal. Grab. Oh. Now we're on to our plunger. Our super glue has set up. Any other game modes that y'all play?
Get some tin
I-
cans, wrap 2 colors of tape around, like 1 color on each side, put them out in the field, and each team gets a color. Their goal is to have, at the end of the game, have as more cans on their color than the other team.
Okay. I like it. Any game mode that you think would be better for adults, or game modes that would be better for kids? Or like a mixed game thing? Because it sounds like you're going to have a decent amount of kids and a decent amount of adults, and like 1 or 2 like teenagers in the middle, but not many.
Keep it as simple as you can, because people don't like to think about rules.
Yeah.
Clickers is,
Yeah.
is super fun, just because you get to play as much as you can, and you don't have to worry about counting. You don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah, that's true. And then, kids don't get upset because they got out and now they've got to stand around and wait for a game to end.
Exactly. If you have a
I like
big,
it.
densely covered area, Kill Confirmed is super fun, because you're basically like outmaneuvering and hunting teams, but that only works with adults. I recommend starting with like clickers, 315s, that sort of stuff.
Okay. I where we're going to play, there's a pretty big area about the size of 4 football fields, like squared. that's just wide open space. And then there's an area that's about the size of a football field that's got trees probably every 15 to 20 feet. And like big enough round trees that like, you could a kid could easily hide behind it, an adult could hide behind it kind of sideways. Um, and then there's an area that's got some buildings and stuff like that. I don't know what they are though. All right.
Yeah, I would recommend using that wooded area. And the problem is when you get into big open spaces, whoever has the highest powered blaster just wins.
Yeah. That's going to be me. Even if it means that when the Greg shows up, I think tomorrow, according to tracking, if I have to turn on every single printer I own and print nonstop until Saturday. um, which would you recommend? I've got Super Lube O-ring stuff or a little bottle of the stuff that Bear sends.
What's the consistency like on the super lube? Is it thicker?
It's a little thicker than the stuff that Bear sends, but not by much.
Okay, then just use the stuff Bear sends everywhere. In your plunger tube and on the pusher O-rings.
Don't be stingy with it either.
No, I've got enough O-ring lube. That's for certain.
I've watched you. You're kind of stingy with it.
I wasn't stingy with it. I just got it sideways. Oh,
If you have to wonder if that's enough, put more on it.
no. Then my tube's all greasy. All right. Well, slide the plunger tube onto the rear bearing union.
By the way, did you get the chamber O-rings in already? I feel like I still see them in your box.
No, I did not.
That's going to get significantly harder soon. So those need to go in that front middle trunnion, and you might need to take it off the bar to get there. Those are your ram base O-rings. The little tiny, the smaller ones are for the chamber.
Wait a minute. Huh? So I've got two 2016 O-rings in here. Are they the ones you're talking about?
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I was just looking in the harbor kit, and I feel like I felt like
Yeah,
I
there
saw
is one more 0116 bearer,
Super cool. You already-
016 bearing
Yeah.
O-ring
It
in
just
there.
it's
I don't know where that
as
goes.
soon as you do this next part, it's going to get a lot harder to put those in. So making sure.
Okay, now. So this is going to go in this one. Is this right?
Yep.
That doesn't seat in there very far. Nope. That's as far as it goes, I guess. Okay. I don't know why I was just expecting it to go further. And then this is going in.
Yeah,
I
but you
need
need those
two
ram
O-rings
base
on here. Am I putting this pad on that TPU RAM or just let it go? All right. Now we got our Falx nameplate. All right. Here's the deal, guys. I've got to run in and use the restroom real quick. Eating 2 burritos before I started this probably wasn't the greatest idea. But I needed to eat something. I'll let you guys talk amongst yourself for a couple minutes. I'll be back. Um, Whatever you guys want to talk about, I don't care. I'm probably going to cut and edit this out in the video when it goes up to YouTube. So don't worry about that. I'll be right back. All right, I have returned. Everybody make it all right? Where were we? Okay, slide the linear rod through the pump and into the front mid trunnions, then add the front trunnions. Okay. Should I add some lube to these rails and bearings?
Just a bit.
Mm. Let's get some proper lube for that. What we're going to do. All right, I've got no bearings on my fingers, so that's good. This lube is stupid slick, man. It's made for injection molding pins. It's like food safe and everything. It's just pure PTFE suspended in mineral oil. Slickest thing I've ever seen in my life. And it doesn't break down. It's crazy. Actually, not terribly expensive. I think it's like $12 for a tube. And they sell to
Heads up, I don't think you got the top brace in there.
the top brace.
Right above that brass colored screwdriver. That's supposed to go in between the
Oh. Yep, definitely missed that one. When I was printing that, I was like, I wonder where this thing goes. Couldn't quite figure it out.
Also, keep in mind that that one is directional. The release version is keyed, but I think you printed before I published.
I did.
Yeah,
Yes.
so just make sure that the screw holes line up.
Bear sent me files a while ago. Yeah, you push the files live, and I'm like, should I immediately post the like I've got my printed parts done? Like magic. There we go. Yep. There we go. Okay. This goes in here. And some more screws. So I'm so glad these are going in the heat sets and not plastic. Nice thing about heat sets too is that if you do it going in the plastic, you might be able to take it apart once and put it back together. But then after you do it like once, you're kind of in this situation where now you're gonna have to print new parts. With heat sets, it's not an issue. Not sure where I put the lid to this. It's over here. All right. Now we've got this part. One thing I don't know if it comes across, and seems like one of the things Bear is very proud of is just how nice these metal parts are. The finish on them is fantastic. It's not like just raw stamped and bent steel. It's finished nice. You're not going to cut yourself on the edges. The is it just a kind of a bead blasted finish, or what kind of a finish did you guys put on these?
I think it's bead blasted and then clear amidite.
Okay. Yeah, so there it's a very, very nice kit. It is a premium blaster for sure. But when you look at it, it looks like a premium blaster. It's not like, oh,
I think it feels like one too when you're done.
oh yeah, no doubt. It feels like one now. Loving it. All right, so now we have a bits of lube for our O-rings that are barrels going up against. Now, you mentioned this to me before stream, but you guys in testing have found that instead of using what you would normally think would go down towards your pusher, the chamfered end, use the less chamfered end. Now, this is for the 12.8 barrel. There's two different barrel options. This is a little bit of a tighter barrel. You said that you get better if you go with the non chamfered end. 1 O-ring, 2 O-rings. There we go. These 12.8 barrels are so nice, man. So nice. Okay. Oh, you got ball detents that lock this forward. I like that. That's the one issue I have with the crush. Like, it's not an issue when I'm shooting it, but other people don't know. Like, you got to hold that forward, and it kind of slides back. Like, I'll prime it for somebody that doesn't have the strength to pump it, and hand it to them, and they kind of don't know and lets it go back, and then they shoot it, and it's not all the way. So I like that. What is the sling point? Says to use M3x8 on. Am I missing something?
It's like optional. You don't need it, but there's like a sling point that attaches up over that. Yeah,
This thing?
yeah,
Okay.
that thing. If you shoot lefty, you might want to mirror that. You don't need
Yeah.
it for now. Yeah, because that's currently set up for the left side. And if you're not going to use it, you can just use M3x6.
Okay. I'm not torquing any of these down yet. Where's this last O-ring go, or is it just an extra one?
Looks like that's just an extra one.
Yeah. Oh crap! I don't have the handle on here.
That is meant to drop out like that in case you want to change modules or service the sear, so you're good.
Okay. Drop my wrench. How much you want to bet it ran underneath the table? Nope. You know, the only disappointing thing, this does not say flip flop on it.
Yeah, I couldn't find a really good way to fit that on there. I need to have my logo redrawn, but the current one was a courtesy by Red Cal's sister, so I kind of like it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Come back up here to the front. I tighten these all in. You could always kind of have it done as a relief in the grip.
The file for it was actually hand drawn, so it's kind of a pain to carve it out on anything. It requires.
You can't just drop it in, convert it to an SVG, and then have the slicer do it as a negative for you when you're done. Like, you don't have to put it in CAD. You can kind of do that in Slicer. It might actually be easier that way. And then just export the STL again.
I have it as an SVG. The problem is there's too many little lines in there that all render as different paths. That's why I need to get it redrawn.
I think we're starting to have a pile of metal and 3D printed plastic that starts to resemble a blaster.
Yeah, almost done.
So we're getting there. It is hot out here today. Had a nice week last week where it was like, just open a window if you're hot, Like, yeah, it was in the 70s, but that wasn't too terrible, And this week it's significantly warmer. All right, what do we think? I couldn't make up my mind on this. Okay, chat. We have the red, or we have the black. Or should we circle back around to it after we've got the rails on, the Picatinny rails on there, and see how we think then? What do you guys think?
I mean, if you shoot lefty, you're gonna want it on the other side probably. So
Oh, this is the other side. I was just saying, do we want red or do we want black?
well, no, that's what I'm saying. If you are a lefty, you're gonna want it on the right side probably, so that it hangs right side inwards. But I think the red's awesome.
Oh yeah.
What color are the rails, dude?
Black. The Picatinny rails are black. That's what I was saying. We could hold off until we got to that point.
Probably good call.
No, go red.
Yep, go red. You already got silver and black in there.
Yeah. There's actually a significant amount of these parts are printed in red, but they're all kind of inside the frame. Ooh, we're gonna need to mirror this, aren't we?
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna need to mirror that. All right, let me fire that up because I bet you we can get that printed relatively quickly. New window. Switch this to PLA. And we want to mirror this. Slice. Dig out the red. Where's my scraper? Take the door off the printer. While we're over here, we'll get a drink. All right. Set that off to do its thing. Pour Coke over my keyboard very precariously. So these two I gotta wait on. Now we're gonna start on the top rails. This is my favorite thing ever. So I did the crush and to put a red dot on there and to actually get that to sight in at 50 feet, I had to print a canted riser. You have done that ahead of time with your rail in and of itself. It just kind of slopes down there to give you that right off the bat. So these are M3x8s. So it is
Yeah, all of
very
those
much
are
so.
8x8s except for the pair second from the front.
Okay. So that kind of gives you, it's very optics ready. So I need to get something to put on here because I don't have one. Um, for Saturday, we're probably going to steal something off of one rifle. I've got that Trigicon reflex sight on the on my AR that hasn't been zeroed in. So I'll probably just go ahead and pull that off since it's not going to require me doing any extra work later that I wasn't already going to have to do. Never mind the fact that a Trigicon red dot sight costs like as much as like 5 of these things. It's kind of the way it is in the world of things that fling things. The optics cost more than the weapon most of the time. What now I've seen yours have some optics on it. What kind of optics are you normally using on yours?
I have a Monstrum Aries red dot, which is super cheap airsoft stuff, but I like the shape. And I also found a random Japanese 22 scope from the 60s in a thrift store years and years ago. So I put that on there for fun.
Okay. Um you are relocating out to Cali. Um so you're going to be like prime location for the 3D printing Voron community out there. Should look into going to Rocky Mountain Rep Rap Fest next year. Talk Baron to sending you a bunch of stuff and setting up a table and stuff. I don't see any world in which I make it out to Colorado. But definitely think you should make it out there if you can. What are you 3D printing all your stuff on right now? I think we may have lost him. Okay, it seems like these two here in the middle that just screw down into the aluminum are the two that get the M3x6s, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
Wait a minute. So what about this one and this one? They screwed straight in the aluminum too. Did they have been M3x6s?
No, those ones should go into the top brace.
Oh yeah. That's right. That part I forgot to put in the first time. Penguin makers, welcome. There's not a lot of material there, so make sure you don't over torque these if you're building one of these. There's two middle ones that are just going into the aluminum for the. It's not that this aluminum's super thin or anything, but
It's the
you-
flex of the aluminum will actually keep it in pretty well once you have it fully together.
no, I just meant like you don't want to strip out the. You don't want to strip them out.
Oh yeah.
Looks like you might end up with 2.5 turns of thread in there or so. Or none in this case. That doesn't want to tighten into that at all.
Do the other two first and then do that one. That's what I found.
It's not a huge issue one way or the other. If worst comes to worst, I think I have an M4 tap. We can just put an M4 thread in there.
If you just do the two front ones, that'll hold it flat enough that the flex of the metal will keep the back one in.
True. All right, let's see how this does. So now, you and I were having a discussion yesterday, and you said that you preferred linear rods to linear rails. And I said I didn't quite understand why you have that preference. Also, don't know what's beeping at me. Um, and I put some thought into it. All right. And let me say what I came up with, and you tell me if I'm in the ballpark of where your train of thought is on it or not. So a my initial thought was a linear rail is going to provide extra structure, where a linear rod is is not going to provide structure so much to your blaster because you've got to kind of constrain it. Now, in a situation like this, it's easy because it's metal. But then I got to thinking about it. A linear rail, while it adds structural support, you still need to print in your structure in order to hold that in place for it to even provide the structure in the first place. Um, so I think at that point it might be six of one, half a dozen of the other. But a rod allows you to lower the top down to your barrel if you wanted, because you don't have to have a rail up top there. Because you can run the rod underneath where a rail you can't. Um, that's as far as I got on it with my thought process. So how far off am I versus what your train of thought on is it?
All right. You keep building. I gotta go help with the baby. I'll be back in a couple minutes, okay? And I'll go through it.
Excellent. All right, now we've got a hex nut. Gonna drop into here. Oh, this is going to slide on here. Slide through here. Hey, Martin, did you get yours ordered yet?
What?
Have you ordered your Falx yet?
No,
No, do you need me to give you the link?
no.
You know you want one.
It's not on my purview at the moment. I want a shrew. It's too many to build.
Yeah, it's very, very shaky.
That's the nice part about it, though, is there's so many different things out there. You can find no matter what kind of blaster kind of tickles your fancy. There's something out there to make. All right. Why is this not coming through? So what are you doing with your weekend, Martin?
I need to organize.
Yeah, I feel you. That's what I spent all day yesterday working on, was organizing stuff.
And I need to stay out of Ollie's.
Oh, did you find more
No,
MXL darts?
my mom went the other day and she just happened to walk by him and she took a picture and she's like, "Do you need me to get these for you?" I was like, "No, I'm good."
Yes, I do.
The missus finally seen all 20 boxes at once the other day.
How'd that go?
She just keeps telling me I have a problem. I keep telling her I'm well aware.
Yeah, mine was with me when I bought 23 boxes of them. She was less than amused.
Okay, you ready for the linear rail talk?
Yeah.
Ooh, go for it.
Okay, so linear rail is good, but it actually introduces more problems than I think it solves. You want the bearing guided prime, right? You have to add a bunch more screws and nuts to your hardware. If you over tighten any of these, you warp the prints, or you can warp the rail if it's a cheap rail, and introduce more friction into the system. You also have to include provision for mounting it to the pump, which is difficult sometimes and annoying. I mean, I'm sure you saw on Crush, which is basically best case scenario. There's still not a ton of material around them. I've seen linear rail launches break. You know, 2 linear rails used as a chassis for a blaster like the Saber Apex introduces some torque in there already. Basically, a linear rail is really good, but it's not meant for the kind of spring loads that we use. And the best way to get a good bearing prime is to have those bearings as close to your grip as possible. You want essentially the spring force and your guides concentric, and you want your grip around that. So this is why this grip that you're putting on right now is actually quite nice, because it puts your hand around the spring. With a linear rod, first off, you don't have to add a whole bunch of extra pieces to to mount the rail. And second off, I can actually mount the bearings inside the pump grip, and I can put that guide through where you are gripping it, like as low as possible. So it makes the prime feel pretty good. The other thing is I don't have to worry about it rotating, because the single bar prime already stops it from doing that, and the barrel does too. So it's constrained in 3 places. There's no way it's going to rotate off of off axis, so you don't need to worry about that. We're just worried about the forward and back stuff.
I'm having the hardest time getting this thing to line up as it comes through.
Is it having trouble getting into the nut?
No, it's having trouble lining up to the hole on the other side of the printed part.
Huh.
The nut also kind of wants to spin in there. I'm gonna see about a square nut here in a minute. I'm gonna try a square nut. See if that grabs a little better. I don't think that's gonna let it line up. Well, that'll line up. Oh, let me check something else. All right. As it goes through, when the screw's coming in, it's wanting to hit right here on the side of this, which is turning that screw just ever so slightly, making it not run into the right spot. I'm just shaving this down a little bit. This could also be the problem. All right. Get a better set of Allen wrenches.
You shouldn't be needing to over tighten that.
No, I wasn't over tightening it. It had a space in here still.
Gotcha.
This wasn't going far enough back as the screws coming in and running into the front of this. And I don't know if you can see that witness mark going across there where it's running into this and twisting that screw to make it go that way. All right. Where'd my screw go? There we go.
What is it? It's unified. It's amazing. Homes the world in your backyard next year, next door, the same county, same town. Yet you don't know where they are. And this is what we're
Love
doing.
it. Love it. There we go.
But do that, find it wherever it is. As you all know, if I'm getting confident with, but like I said, so money, I'm not saying it's going under development. Money that's paid the most, make it, it's going to work.
All right. Now we've got a spring.
So we'll figure it out. That's why we're here. That's what we do. Again, we're not profit.
Uh-oh.
doing it, and for us, it's very important because we all know how great, wonderful person he is. In other news, I guess, event wise coming up, we have a couple events, and also locally, we have Maryland Phone Lines on Saturday, just having the year anniversary of
Yikes.
of the Maryland Phone Line. That is this Saturday, so I think.
All right.
I will be there.
And then there's
That,
a little orientation mark on here.
we have one cast. What's the I'm on the defensive. I'm currently at Marbles, how to say, Staples. He and I are going to Detroit this weekend. D13. We're going to get ourselves up some.
Oh, with the ball detent in there. I was like, what is it hitting?
No. They're not bringing heavy loadouts. Both light loadouts. Seen different works out at all. So I'm also going to go to Canada.
That ball detent is serious.
Yeah, it might take a couple times to break it in.
We're flying into Cleveland because there were better flights in Cleveland than in
All right.
and they're
Now, put this in. Let's put the barrel nut on it this time.
stairs. I got my Lego passport with me. So we'll be hitting those. There's also some soda shops in Cleveland. I want to see if they have some of the beers I don't have yet. And then we're going to drive on to Detroit to the soda shop along the way. Saturday, we will have birthday, 13 grand in the morning. And then Sunday, we're going to go to the hotel.
All right. There's that. And we've got these two that we put some Loctite on. Put those in here. Put it down. Back it off just a tiny bit.
If that one doesn't want to slide and return, you might need to back off half a turn on the screws to either side.
Where do you want me to go? Use that one time. Oh, dude, that's awesome.
All right. Now we can put this in.
I think it's in the laser tag, airsoft arena, like 4 hours back.
You got adjustable stock back here. Check length of pull. That works.
There's they also do their fingering. They call it fingering. They call it fingering. Everyone
And then we've got cheek rest. Oh, this. I gotta take this off to put that on.
Like literally, really. I think between us, it's light load. Get this one. We'll drive by the Walmart park. Yeah.
And then this secures with some little printed pins. Mine definitely do not friction fit though.
I think your tolerances are probably better than mine.
Operation Rocket.
Yeah, that's one of those hard things. I can scale those up a bit and redo it. Now, the other thing that we've got is Chance's quick string scar.
The inside, the alternator, all of it. Just steering holder down. The pins are just find out the crap instead of any crap store or what. The head is 10 millimeter.
This thing is a pain in the butt to get on.
The cheapest are
I had the hardest time getting this onto the other blaster when I printed it too. All right.
But that's 2 layer. Yeah, they came out really well. It actually
All right. Goodness gracious. I'm assuming that'll get easier. You do it a couple times.
Make sure when the barrel goes past both chamber O-rings when you get it in there, or else you're gonna have issues.
Yeah. Yeah, you can kind of feel it go past each one.
Tear the head, the pins also when I pour out of one, go back on. But luckily, the head is super easy to move. So you barge cement, which here instantly, and then the pin.
All right.
6,000, which is an instant here, but it's pretty cool. My thanks to my power. Yeah. I went through a lot of things trying to find the right for the pins, and ultimately, clearly 6,000 more.
There we go.
Works the best.
Let's go get
So
a mag. Oh, we got the whatchamacallit, the sling.
that's the this crap we can get. This you get what we have at the moment. This is down to the head. Oh, really? Just the right material. I've got a whole bunch of different photos. I've got stuff online. Somebody gave me some ideas last time that I did.
All right.
A couple of things I still need to experiment with. A couple are like, yeah, no, that's okay. One is I found one that's the first material, absolutely amazing, but it's small. It's like 6 inches long and 2 inches wide, and I need 10 inches long and 2.5 inches wide.
So there we go. This is Falx by Shoeless Historian.
Inside anything Mega XL will fit on, or anything that arrows will fit on, these will fit on. Just waiting for the material for next head. And of all things, what I ended up doing, search stress balls that were the right diameter, I searched footballs that were the right diameter, and ultimately being the right diameter and the right material for EVA foam balls meant to be put on car antennas to make it easier to spot your car apart. They were better.
Oh, did I put the wrong spring in this thing?
Looks like the right spring. Make sure that it's fully seated inside the plunger and spring cap.
And I ordered 13 things, so I'll get 26 hands, 25
All right, let's see.
The original mini thing, they're making it look great. The walls, they kept getting
Okay. Supposed to be an 8-inch spring. That's right.
Just of course, but then it's okay. I had one it's a crying out. It's the tough one. Right now, I don't know. It doesn't. Well, it is. So, because now you got all the
All right. All right, now it primes all the way. But that steer is not holding on to that.
It's really easy to bring cheaper than because barrels threads on thread on a replacement can use 3/4 inch PVC, which is most
Oh no, where we glued that together failed. All right.
Don't try to pour out the little reaching or plank rocket for your floor. It's just the better way to go.
Yeah, that 2-piece thing failed in there where I glued it together.
That's really good, reliable way to do it.
Looks like I should be able to get to that though pretty simply by removing these couple back screws.
All right, you just need to pull the back trunnion and then you can get it.
Yeah.
There's some ways you hypothetically they're not going to be clean. They're not going to be it's but the other nice thing about the alternator is it's a larger bore.
Was that World Foam Alliance podcast? Get off my lawn, I hear in the background.
Correct.
Sounds like Captain Xavier over there.
Probably pour out for a type purpose.
Moose is on there. I thought I'd be done by now.
See how that's the trick is
Slacking.
Yeah. Lots of talking. Bathroom break in the middle.
Or if someone will probably go out and find something else, they're either more updated than don't pay or that way. Forget like photos on phone. I think you have here give the man that is big and ridiculous thing. I thought about the big always wondered so now I just can't help it.
So this is a prime example of why having heat sets is nice. You're able to pull stuff apart fairly easily. This one wall thing failed on that. This one was, can't remember whether that was the ABS or the polycarbonate one. Can't remember. That was the ABS one. Polycarbonate one failed way before that, so I didn't try on that one. All right. Get that off of there. Should I go ahead and add this plunger pad then to this plastic one?
Might as well, but you don't need to. So you don't need to.
No, my Ram's polycarbonate right now.
Oh yeah, then add the plunger padding.
And not having too much deck space. But it didn't. One thing I will definitely be attempting to develop, I've got a Jericho. Or not what I said before, the Fender. The Fender. That's pretty much.
All right, so now we're gonna slide
It's the shell black. Right? Completely different shells.
this in.
Or all the way down. Super easy to make.
Slide that back in.
A 3/4 inch PVC. So that's 40 I do plan to make videos on pretty much the whole process. So I think ridiculous over that I and all of the YouTube stuff that I can find to be made available online. The biggest one was the flexing. Back in 1/3 of the way. Everything 5 degrees. I gotta change
Another long one.
So it's very simple here. No support necessary. No hardware. It's for 3D printed parts. I've got it for a tight rocket post. I've got a voltmeter post. I have a
You broke a piece. Okay.
What if you printed that entire plunger out of TPU?
You need hard TPU for it not to deform.
Okay.
I've also been series of cutting jigs for cutting like press balls and things. It's about work made in half. I've got jigs for pouring the down on wire. All the all of the bits. Figured out the sex for it out super easy. Just one and exported to SPT, exported into he took for my you can change the exact
For those watching, the plunger that we just put in there is actually the stock one in the files. The one that broke was an experimental one that we were just trying out. So
I've got more material coming for
I never installed the 2 screws on this side of the grip. What are the 3 extra hex nuts for?
That and the extra long screw are for just different pump grip options. If you didn't want to use
Okay.
the one.
Problem is, nothing is last forever. Years ago, might not be available. So ultimately, it's going to come down to you're going to need to sort your own new back in. There's the that same diameter and
And
yeah.
just like that, you've changed out your plunger. All right. Now,
Touching that?
yeah. Now we are going to spin the camera, turn around, come over here. There we go. You see my CPR dummy over there. Grab a mag. Grab a handful of darts here.
Tool chest. I think you look at the tool chest. The beginning of the tool chest.
All right. Got a few darts loaded up. Can you guys see me in frame?
You can cut your stuff with
Yes.
fire, or you can back or bandsaw. You know, there's a different fancy way. A laser, a wire wire with the ring sheet. It's very, very precise. But if you change your physical size by even a millimeter, you're gonna need to change your or everything else. Bigger than one. You gotta be within millimeters.
That's pretty nice. Pretty nice. So again, if you'd like to build one, files are on printables. Shoeless Historian. It's got tons of great options. Parts kits are available from Bears Wares, along with several other blasters. The breacher, the Goblin kit, the Crush kit, and this, as well as the next blaster build, the Nessie, have all come from Bears Wares. Great guy, great parts. So thanks to him. Thank you, Shoeless Historian, for joining and helping me through this build. It's a beautiful blaster. Beautiful.
How does it feel?
Oh man. Okay, so let me go get the next closest one I have to this would be the Crush. And weight wise, Falx probably has a little bit on the Crush, but the Crush is also about 6 inches shorter. And this is a 5.5 inch K25 spring. You got 8 inches in here. You're pushing what, about another 80 to 100 FPS out of this?
Yep.
Versus this. And let's see. Just comparing the primes on them. Honestly, the Falx is easier to prime.
And see, this is what I'm talking about. Linear rod is the way.
Yeah, because so with this, your rail is all the way up here and you're putting pressure this way. So you're twisting this whole thing when you're pulling on that versus your rod being right here. Both great blasters, don't get me wrong. Either one of them you'd be thrilled with.
One of them costs twice as much as the other one, so.
Yeah, there's that too. There's a cost difference, but there's also a print time difference. So this is a lot more printing than that is. So depending on what kind of filament you're using, you could easily eat up half of that price difference just in materials on your side, printing. And then all of a sudden it's not too bad of a difference. Still don't know if this string car's on here straight or all
I
the
think
way.
it's on there.
What's that?
It looks on there, right?
It's just weird because it tapers out, And then, so you can use, so this string car, this was suggested to me by Shoeless Historian, but it's a model made by chance. You just kind of pull up and twist, and it'll lock in and turn those strings inside of there and give you more or less crush down onto your dart and more twist. So you can kind of dial in your FPS a little bit. I don't think you're going to get this down to under a 150 cap as is, though.
Not with that spring.
Yeah. But awesome design, man. Awesome. I love it. Like the thumbnail kind of says, it is definitely the next evolution in like 3D printed build it yourself blasters. There's like no flex in this, none. Where like the crush, like you're like, all right, I gotta kind of, it could crack and break if I hit this thing the wrong way. This thing doesn't feel like it's going anywhere. Feels like you could body check somebody with this thing. Don't body check people when you're playing Nerf. But yeah. You guys, before we wrap it up and head out, does anybody have any questions, comments in chat that you would like to ask?
Not that I can think of, but just want to thank Shoeless Historian for being here.
Yeah, it was a huge commitment in time. It took way longer than I anticipated. I truly apologize. I really thought at max it would be 2 hours. So that's what I told him. So I appreciate you being here. I know you got a little one and responsibilities. So taking your time out to be here is much appreciated.
Glad it came together. On that note, I'm gonna head out to go hang out with them.
All
the rest
right.
of your
Have a good rest of your evening.
See you.
Well, guys, with that, I think we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to roll the intro. I'll be here for a couple minutes afterwards if you want to chat. If not, I get it. If you got nothing else to do, World Foam Alliance or something like that has Misplaced Moose on their podcast tonight. Go check that out. Have a good one.
Later.